part because they're not dealing with anything important. The title for Sunday will be The War of 34, and he'll go into detail about that, meaning the 34 year that we're going to be going into, and what's the precursor to that, what's happening now. We'll get into Lucifer, why it's all crashing down, why aliens are here, why religions are losing everything, and it's just all together, and everything fits together. When I was trying to explain about the puzzle before, well, I hope you tell your friends because it's going to get better. His site is Stranger Universe on YouTube, Sargel18. Pull his videos up. I think he put maybe 14 up already in the past week. He's got a lot of information he's putting out. He's talking about a lot. He showed a couple pictures I shot. He put the picture of the first ghost I shot up at Wanacue. And he'll be putting cool pictures up. He did a video on one of the pictures I shot as well. So yeah, it's all cool stuff going on there. And you need to... People couldn't deal with it then. I mean, at least they can deal with it now because they could always tell them it's not real. And then they'll deal with it if that's the way they want to deal with it. But as far as those people, now, I did have problems with somebody on the East City Ranch. See, people claim everything's good. And for me, I say, prove that it's good, because I'll prove that it's not. And my scenario is always look at the world. Look at where you live, the planet, what's happening. Don't look in your dreams and fairy tale land, pull up the knight in shiny armor or something like that. Look at the real world. What is happening? What good is happening? You know, just how many days ago, 2,000 people killed with the earthquake? And they just had one when I started this show. They had 7.2, 7.1, and they had 6, 6, 6, 5. Then they had 5, 6, 5, 6. Then they had 6, 5. Then they had a 6. Then they had a 5. Then they had a 6. So, you know, it's going up and down crazy for them. But the other islands around it, like if you follow Australia and go from one side to the other, all those islands are being crashed out by earthquakes. Big earthquakes. Something's going on. Now, which nobody talks about again, Australia, right below those islands, on the northern part of Australia, is the biggest army base on the planet. Probably the most dangerous, which nobody knows about because it's a secret base, even though it's known that it's there and stuff like that. It looks like a bunch of snowballs. All right? Giant snowballs. But the base is there. I mean, that's what's above the ground, not even what's below the ground. But it's owned by Britain and the United States. So why are all the earthquakes around that? And the earthquake chart doesn't show you any earthquakes in Australia, which I only found out they block it. So you have to go into a special site to see what's going on in Australia. But they're not having super big ones like the islands around them. Something dramatic is going to happen. We haven't seen nothing yet. I know a person with his doomsday prophecy, which is possible. I mean, there is one. But for his viewpoint, it's going to happen soon, and it's probably later than sooner for his viewpoint from what he's saying and what he says. Because he keeps saying it's going to happen. And then he said this year is going to be his last year of prophesizing, and then he comes out next year and does the same thing over again for another year. And then the earth will heal, I'm going to do it for another year. So he has no clue as far as being accurate. Oh, I predicted this, I predicted that. Well, predict when something's going to happen, for real. Something really important. Sean David Morton and Sagel18 both prophesied 9/11 before it happened. I was with Sean David Morton in New York City when he told hundreds of people the exact date and time that both places were going to be hit. So we need to think it out. Who's got the truth? And I'll tell you, a lot of these speakers that I even started liking, because I liked what they said, but when one person came out and said, well, the alien races that said they're going to destroy the planet in a year, that didn't happen. Another famous person said he was going to bring the aliens from inside the Earth out. That didn't happen. I mean, Ashtar and Galactic Federation, whatever they say, doesn't happen. So if you're going to talk to somebody with a brain. You're going to say you work with aliens? Work with one that has a brain. A real brain that can tell you something for real. Well, we're going to drop a bomb on Russia tomorrow, and then Russia gets bombed. Okay, that's real. Well, we're going to take Russia and put it on another world in another dimension. When? In the near future. That's a useless question, useless answer. Everything about it's useless. Because I say, look out the window. Russia's still there. So unless it can manifest reality and show you the signs of it being important in reality, it's useless. Now, to go against everybody out there, all those speakers, what I will tell you, what I do talk about, is as real as it can get. It can change everything within your reality if you allow it to. And I'm not talking about being programmed to believe what I tell you. I almost went into my story of my one experience, and I stopped myself from doing it. I will one time, when I think people are ready without condemning themselves for not having it, or whatever the excuse is, or it's just ego that I had it. I had multiple experiences all my life. I say to myself, I'm more gifted than anybody else on this planet. And I'm glad I'm leaving it. So, when people say, well, I don't want to leave. Why? What is so incredible that you'd want to stay here for? Pain, suffering, watching other people suffering. Oh, somebody hit the $1 million lottery. Does it help anybody, really? I mean, Gates gave, $100 million to schools. An incredible gift of money offer. And I just feel he suddenly realized he's going to have to start dealing with karma. But that's just my viewpoint. You don't have to accept it or not. That's just, think about it, though. Oprah, she donates, $1 million here and there? Is that any of her money, really? When I went to become a preacher, they said 40% of your salary. 40%. I said, I'm going to give a lot more, but I don't want to classify it as 40%. I'll give exactly what I can all the time. Oh, well, then you could sign 40%. I said, no, that's a figure. I go over certain things because I'm trying to instill in your thinking how you need to think. I'm not a genius. I didn't go to college. College isn't going to help me understand God any better. If I went to 10 degrees in college and went down, got my bachelor's and all these other things, would it help me at all? Of course not. Do you think a psychiatrist gets down the road because of knowledge? They only deal with unknown knowledge. To hear every day, well, I don't know why that kid went out and shot the school up, why he shot the people out, why he did this or why they did that. It's simple. And I learned it in magic. Adults make things harder, children make things easier. Get 10 children and 10 adults. I'll do the same trick. And I'll tell those 10 children to write down on a piece of paper how they think it happened. And then I'll tell the adults, write it on a piece of paper, what they thought happened. Guess what? Take a wild guess. I'd say 80% of the children will be so close to the truth of what happened. When I get to the adults, maybe one of them will hit the truth of what happened. Because their mind is going into la-la land. And beliefs and programs and ideas. Not reality. Very few people face reality. Why we're really here. What's really happening. What we're going to do when we really leave. That's reality. It's going to happen sooner or later. And guess what? It's going to be a lot sooner. Every day goes by, it's sooner than later. So, we deal with this multiple stuff over and over and over again. Now, when I work with Sagel18, we were up at the Vortex up in Wanacue, New Jersey. It was government land. The signs all around it said, if you get caught on this property, you will be shot. And we went in there every other night for hours. We walked deep into the woods, crossed this river, which Sargel18 never told me it was toxic, which I always walk through it. I always walk through it barefooted. And he goes, I don't know why you do that. I said, what do you mean why I do it? The only reason, he never told me, and this is funny, I don't hold it against him at all, but Sandra, Delacroix, his co-host, and him and I were going across the river. And it was a really hot day. So I said, I'm taking off my shirt, and I'm going to jump in. And I jumped in. He goes, you shouldn't be in there. I said, what do you mean? Do you know what kind of chemicals they poured in that water and what kind of... And I'm swimming around in it. But every time we went up there, I would just take off my boots, shoes, and walk through it. So I'm immune to almost everything. I'm not immune to death, and I'm looking for it. I mean, it's not like I'm going to hide from it. Spirit will take me when it wants me. When I did as much as I could here. I'm doing the best I can. Sadly to say, it's never going to be enough. And I look at it this way. If Jesus could walk this planet and not do enough, I'm not even a speck in the dust to be even that close enough to do anything important. But on the other hand, Jesus said there'll be many greater than he. And he was really hoping there would be. When I was with him, he was dead set that we're going to have spiritual people coming. And sadly, nobody came better than he. And I'm not saying that because I'm a Christian or anything else. Read my book, The True Teachings of Jesus from God Realization. All right? Now, and it's not a religious book. I mean, I talk about a couple things that people are so programmed. I mean, why do people say Jesus Christ, God damn it, and things like that when they're in pain and suffering and all these other things? There's a program there in everybody about religion. And now it's to the point, well, that's the program, and I don't want to be part of it. Well, the little bit of truth that was there, you don't hear it. They don't hear it. The Christians don't hear it. Nobody hears it. The Pope does not hear the truth. Why is that? Now, go on the Pope. It's Pontiac or something, the name that goes on. What type the Pope? What was emails? I try to write one every night on top of whatever he says. It's ridiculous, whatever he says. Delusional. He has no clue. He's lying. So, would I debate him in a second? I would love to. But you'd probably have to strap him down. You wouldn't be able to deal with the lies that he put out there. But I challenge everybody. Eckhart Tolle, Deepak Chopra, Dalai Lama. Please, come out. Put your truth out there. Love is the answer. Peace is... A piece of what? A piece of peace? A piece of love? What's going to change the world and make it better? Anything? As long as we believe the Anunnaki programmed us to believe we're whatever and we're destroying the planet, what are they going to program us to be to make it better? Zombies? Loving zombies. Maybe that would make the world peace happen. But no, you'd rather listen to somebody go, well, I was on Venus with 3 races and we were talking about going to another world. And does that have anything with helping you? Well, we want to know that the lies are real. If you found out that aliens were real and you had to accept the fact that Superman was real, would you want to hear that? Oh, I'd love to know Superman was real. See, you're already programmed into another program against the program that you're trying to learn. We adapt things to make things sound better, feel better, make us feel better. I mean, psychics get paid lots of money, but they don't get paid much if they tell the truth. They have to tell you your grandmother, grandfather, your uncle, your sister, your brother misses you and loves you. What if you were fighting? What if you knocked him out and he fell down, fell off a cliff and died? Oh, I love you. That was a mistake. No, you punched me out and tried to kill me. Oh, no, they love me now. Everybody wants to hear they're forgiven. And that's why that phrase is so pushed on people. Jesus didn't say that. There are things you cannot be forgiven for. Not in one lifetime. Not in 2 or 3 lifetimes even sometimes. So we go on and on about programs, and I bring it up every talk I can. Because right now, in the midst of all these UFO people coming out, I mean, the topics that I was going to go into, like, one of the things that's, like, completely covered underground cities. How many people understand that they're real? How many people understand how many people are in them? How many people understand a reason why they would even